This woman with the strong-willed wished she'd owned a house with that belonged to an acquaintance, and she often made mental pictures. And then what happened? The man died, and she moved into the house. Several years after coming into the knowledge, so this was before she knew this. Hello, and thank you for joining me at 8. I am Maggie. And of course, as always, I am Maggie. And I want to thank you for joining me. We are having the most glorious time going through the works, the complete works of Florence Scovel. And what we did was we read her book, The Law of Karma and the Law of Forgiveness. So we read it 2 times, kind of letting it marinate into that sweet soul that we are. And then I go back through it and we break it down into points, because points are tools, however you want to describe it. But when you are yielding your wand, you're yielding your tool, you're using your spoken word, or your energy is emitting out in a positive vibration, lifting the earth up to all our darlings out there. That's right. Wonderful things are going to happen. So we are going to get going with this. And thank you for joining me. And you know what's so fun? Just look outside where summer is. Roll out those lazy, hazy, crazy days of summer. Roll out the soda and Pepso and beer. Remember Nat King Cole? Oh my gosh, I love him. So anyway, roll out those lazy, crazy, hazy days of summer. It's almost like summer will always be here in our hearts. But the winter is good too. Winter is good too. So we love all the seasons, because that life is about that, right? We walk through different seasons, different reasons, and different lifetimes in our lives. Okay, so we're going to get this going. Thank you so much for joining me. So much love to you all. So the first point, okay, the title of this is The Law of Karma and the Law of Forgiveness. So we're breaking down the first point, the Law of Karma, okay? Second point, the Law of Forgiveness. The third point is going to be, man receives that, only that which he gives. Okay, so man or woman receives that of what we give. So I want to encourage you today, what are you giving? Take a moment to just park yourself and check and say, what am I giving? What am I doing? What are my thoughts, words, deeds, actions aligning up with? Because, point number 2, the game of life is a game of boomerangs. The game of life is a game of boomerangs, right? So we all know the boomerang it usually has that nice little bend so that it flies out, but then it also flies back. So what are we boomeranging back to us, right? So we're sending out love, light, and joy from here to ever after. And that's what's going to boomerang back to me. So take a moment, sit in the silence or whatever you need to do, and just take a little check. In the game of life, it becomes a game of boomerangs. And on that note, we want to know what kind of boomerangs we're sending out. Put it in the comments. I would love to hear. Okay, point number 4 is, man's thoughts, words, and deeds return to him or her sooner or later with astounding accuracy, right? So when you see that bullseye, our thoughts, our words, and our deeds will return to us with astounding accuracy. Let's make them higher order values. You know, as we go through these teachings, things will eventually grow to become a little more complex. But there's so many viewers out there listening and hearing some of these things for the first time. And if anybody has ever coached a sport or even taught some kind of class in school, the foundation and the bottom is super, super important to build upon, because then when you start to get into the higher heights, that foundation is what's going to hold you in place. So never fear. If you are very advanced, just continue. There might be something that you may be able to implement in your life that you may be realizing is lacking in your everyday. Okay, and we are learning a lot on this at this channel, so let's see what this does. Oh, woo! And they said, let there be light, and there was. Okay, point number 5. This is the law of karma, which is Sanskrit for come back. So 5, okay, so karma in Sanskrit means to come back. So whatsoever a man soweth, that shall he also reap. So whatever we sow, we reap. So when we're planting those seeds, we want to be planting those seeds for successful business, for health, for abundance, for love, happy relationships, healthy business relationships. Maybe you want to grow your hair long, or maybe you want to travel the world. Whatever it is, plant those seeds, because whatever you plant, you reap. Okay, for example, so it looks like 6 is going to be a story. 6. A friend told her the story of herself, illustrating the law. She said, I make all my karma on my aunt. Whatever I say to her, so this is the story of the woman and her aunt. Whatever I say to her, someone says to me. I am often irritable at home, and one day said to my aunt, who was talking to me during dinner, no more talk. I wish to eat in peace. And what happened? That boomerang came right back. Okay, so that's the story. Point number 6 is the woman, her aunt, and the boomerang. Okay, so she told her aunt, no more talk, I wish to eat in peace. So my friend is in high consciousness, so her karma returns to her very quickly. And many of you are in very high consciousness, so you really want to be, policing yourself in the sense of not in the struggle mode or not like in a restrictive, conflictive mode, but just be aware, because you are in higher order values and beings and consciousness, so it's going to come back quicker. So things come back to her fast on the mental plane. So the more man knows, the more he is responsible, right? With great power comes great responsibility. And a person with a knowledge of the spiritual law, which he does not practice, suffers greatly in consequence. And that's why once you start on your personal journey, there's no stopping. You need to continue to put some time into it each day. There's some times where you'll just be rolling like a gushing river, and other times where it might feel like you can't even move an inch, but there's purpose in every season. So the fear of the Lord or law. Okay, so we're going to, I'm going to finish the story. So the following day, the woman and her aunt and the boomerang, right? She told her aunt, the following day she was lunching with a woman whom she wished to give a great impression. And she was talking animatedly when the woman said to her, no more talk, I wish to eat in peace. So that boomeranged right back to her. She said that to her aunt, and when it was important for her, boom, it hit her. No more talk, I want to eat in peace. Okay, so because of this will be point number 7. With higher consciousness comes quicker resolution on the mental plane. And what Florence was saying, that her friend was higher consciousness, and so her karma returned almost immediately on the mental plane. So she basically put that boomerang out to her aunt, and it came back to her, and somebody she really wanted to impress. Okay, now we're going on to point 8. The more a man knows, this is point 8, the more a man knows, the more responsibility for, that person needs with a spiritual knowledge of the law, which he does not practice, suffers greatly in consequence. So when you know the law, when you know what is right, you need to do what is right. Otherwise, with that greater power, that greater responsibility is going to come with greater consequences. So she begins talking at this point. That was point 8. So we're going to go to point 9. Point 9, the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. And this is where she begins helping people to see that if we read the word Lord as law, it will make many passages in the Bible much cleaner and clearer. So the fear of the law is the beginning of wisdom. And the Lord is the law, and he is a God of order. And so his law is put into place. And once we start to understand God's law and we work and to do those things, we will be blessed. 10-fold, 100-fold, 1,000,000-fold, eternally folds, right? For all generations to come. Okay, so that was point 9. We're moving on to 10. Listen to this one. Vengeance is mine. I will repay, saith the Lord. Okay, so we're going to put that law word in there, practicing that skill. Vengeance is mine. I will repay, says the law. Okay, so who will deal the vengeance? The Lord. Who will deal the vengeance? The law. It is a consequence of the order that God set the world up in. So vengeance is his. Let him go. It is the law that takes vengeance, not God. God sees man perfect, creating in his own image, imagination, and giving power and dominion. So we are very powerful and we have dominion. So we need to walk in that grace, mercy, and peace as we are going through our lives. Okay, point 11. This is the perfect idea of man, registered in the divine mind, awaiting man's recognition. For man can only be what he sees himself to be, and only attain what he sees himself attaining. And that is where the perfect idea registered in the divine mind, which is the imagination, our Christ-like imagination. So what we can see in that mind's eye, what we see in that imagination becomes. So I am imagining that my videos are going to improve and they're going to get better and the content's going to be better. And it doesn't matter how slow or how fast I go, that is exactly what the divine mind is going to dish up. And it doesn't matter who is, maybe making fun or saying this or saying that. It doesn't matter. It's between me and my God, and I just continue to do my very best to do what I can in this arena to perfect that and to use my imagination in healthy ways. So also, if you want to use your mind, that divine mind, to bring health, imagine yourself healed and you will walk that out. Let the old man die and let the new man birth forward. Okay, point 12. Love this one. Nothing ever happens without an onlooker. That's an ancient saying, and when we look at the slit test, when the electrons went through, they changed path when they had an observer. When you watch people who are looking upon somebody, like for instance, a parent that looks on their child as the most amazing, successful, wonderful, that child is going to raise to that level. But let's say another child, the parent is telling him like, no, you're dumb, you're stupid, we don't want to think these things, but it does happen. And this is where we're going to watch ourselves. But maybe they're trying to put these things on their kids to toughen them up and get stronger, but what you tell your kids, they become. And so you're telling them these things, now the kid internalizes that, especially in those first 0 to 7 in the womb, and then the 7 years they're just sponges taking everything in. So whatever you tell them, you as the onlooker are creating the person they become. Okay, point 13. Man sees first his failure or success, his joy or sorrow, before it swings into visibility. So did you get that? We see it, we imagine it, and then it comes to be. So from the scenes set in his own imagination, do not reduce the importance of your imagination. If you can think it, it can be. We are living in some of the most incredible times. Whether you like some of the things happening on planet Earth or you don't like what is happening on planet Earth, you still cannot deny that the advance of technology, what is happening across the globe, it's absolutely amazing. And this is why we really want to hone our skills to hold our imaginations in higher order values and to be the bearers of light and love on the planet right now. And of course, anytime that we were ever here, but just in general, you are more powerful than you know. And then when we link together, that critical mass just pops up, and that affects the whole. So if you are struggling in your world, just know if you do the work, it will do you. And as you do that, you help so many. So if you're in a place where you don't feel like you can do more, make sure you're doing your own work, because it will pay off and it will help the whole, every single soul on the planet. It will help. Okay, so that was point 13. So that imagination. So point 14. Okay, so the point 13 is an example where he talks about the mother who, the measles, the kid didn't have it, and then she was basically saying, oh, the baby hasn't had it yet. So this woman is basically seeing that the kid will have it. When you're holding your imagination in that way, we don't want to do that. Or how about the woman who's seeing success for her husband? Okay, we all need to partner together in seeing one another successful, healthy, loved, traveled, whatever it is. Like for me, I would love for you to continue to imagine with me. My YouTube channel is successful. The classes that I offer are helpful and help other people and are successful, and that I have health, and just imagining the most wonderful things as I am for you too. Okay, point 14. Jesus Christ said, "And ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free." Right? Ye shall know the truth, and the truth will set you free. So we see freedom from all unhappiness conditions comes through knowledge, a knowledge of spiritual law. So when we're not pushing against that spiritual law, that's when we begin to flow with the universe. And in reality transurfing, there's a million alternative spaces, opportunities for you. And when that starts to happen, you can actually flow with the river of the divine and find your rightful place with what you're here to do at this specific time in life. Okay, 15. Obedience precedes, this is a tough one for so many. Obedience precedes authority. And the law obeys man when he obeys the law. So did you get that? For you to have the advantage of the law, you must obey the law first. And when you obey the law, and that's when your authority increases. So the law, she gave an example, 16, the law of electricity. So sometimes people get angry and they're like, the law, blah, 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 I don't want to deal with this. Okay, she gives the example. Electricity is a perfect example. Electricity is in most people's homes through most of the earth. Let us all just send out some prayer and love right now that it may be in everywhere in the world to helping everyone. But she talks about how electricity could be mirrored as spiritual law. Electricity not used wisely can kill, can burn, can destroy a person's skin, body, health, can destroy a home, can destroy a business, right? So electricity must be obeyed in order for it to become our servants. And then when we do have that reverence for it, and we have that obedience for the law of electricity, that's when it works, and it lights our streets, it cooks our food, it gives us peace in the middle of the night if we need to get up, go to the bathroom or check on a child or whatever it is. And so when electricity, like the law, is ignorantly handled, it's not handled or respected, that's when it becomes our deadly foe. And so that is the same thing as the law of the mind. So if you want to have success, we learn these laws, which we're going to continue to be going through in this book, but we learn the laws, we respect and obey the laws, and then the laws work for us on a magnificent scale. Okay, so now point 17, we have another story. Okay, a woman with a strong will. So you remember her, the strong-willed woman. Okay, this woman with the strong will wished she'd owned a house with that belonged to an acquaintance. And she often made mental pictures. And then what happened? The man died and she moved into the house. Several years after coming into the knowledge, so this was before she knew the spiritual law, she learned the spiritual law and she asked Florence, "Do you think I had anything to do with the man's death?" And Florence told her, "Yes, your desire was so strong that everything made way for it and you paid your karmic debt." And how did she pay that karmic debt? Because her husband, whom she loved devotedly, died soon after, and the house was a white elephant on her hands for years. So we want to be very careful with our strong wills. You know that she wasn't intending for that person, because very easily the man could have decided to sell his house and move somewhere else. So point is, your will is important. It's strong and it's power. So I want you to make sure that when you are focused so intently, 0 point focus, you're holding that 1 point and you're strongly focused. I want this YouTube channel to succeed. I want to be healthy, happy, loving relationships, my family blessed and prospered and abundant, all these things. You hold it without intention to harm others, okay? Okay, that is point 17. Whew. Okay, so point 18 is the original owner. Okay, so listen to this. She's talking about power of wills. The original owner, however, could not have been affected by her thoughts had he been positive in the truth, nor her husband, but they were both under karmic law. So the woman should have said, okay, so here we're going to go. This is point 18, because she's talking about the power of the wills and our intention. But we're going to go with this, okay? Infinite Spirit gives me the right house, equally as charming as the house which is mine by divine right. So may all of you, and myself included, Infinite Spirit, we ask you to give us the house equally as charming as the ones in our dreams, in our wishes, by which is ours through divine right. So Infinite Spirit, we are calling in our new homes. That is our divine right by the divine mind. And may all be at peace. So many of us are going to be getting new homes. If that was for you, I'm one of them. I'll let you know. I know what I want mine to look like. I have a vision. Okay. Point 19. The divine selection would have given perfect satisfaction and brought good to all. The divine pattern is the only safe pattern to work with. So she's talking about when you're using your will and you're focused on something to manifest, you want to be using divine selection to give the perfect satisfaction, bringing good to all. Okay, divine pattern is the only safe pattern. So I don't believe this young lady was trying to do anything, she wasn't. She was a very strong-willed woman, and she was wanting very, very much to have that house. So, okay, let's see now. Point 20. Okay, this is a statement more so, something we're all learning. Or we know, but she puts it so articulately. I look forward in the future as I go a little more freestyle, but these are powerful tools. Sometimes you don't need to reinvent the wheel. You just need to get the wheels that are rolling into people. And that's how I feel about like Neville Goddard, Joseph Murphy, Florence Scovel and others. Okay, so point 20. Desire is a tremendous force, and it must be directed in the right channels or chaos ensues. So you got that? That's very, very important. Desire is a tremendous force, and it must be directed in the right channels or chaos ensues. Okay, let's see about 23. So in demonstrating the most important step in the first step is to ask right. So point 21 is asking right, right? Brian Scott has a wonderful affirmation for large sums of money. And if you can, just hop on over to his meditations. But there's a part of it that says, in the free will of all and the good of all. And then it goes on, because so that everybody is receiving large sums of money and no one is harmed. It's a very beautiful affirmation. I am so happy and grateful now that large sums of money come to me easily, effortlessly, and quickly, in increasing, accelerating, and expanding quantities from multiple and varied sources on a continuous and consistent basis, with the free will of all, in the best interest of all, with the free will of all, see, do no harm, that I get to keep, give, spend, invest, and circulate joyously. Okay, so did you get that? Now, one more time. I am so happy and grateful now that large sums of money come to me and you easily, effortlessly, and quickly, in increasing, accelerating, and expanding quantities, got all of those, from multiple and varied sources, on a continuous and consistent basis, in the best interest of all, do no harm, with the free will of all, do no harm, divine mind, that I get to keep, give, spend, invest, and circulate joyously. So you see that? He is working with that principle of the divine mind. And so that he's asking right, he updated that affirmation for large sums of money so it would never stop coming, and so that you wouldn't have to work hard for it, and so that you could do all kinds of things to support everybody and yourself. So divine right. And so go in there and find, affirmations that resonate with you. So man should always demand only that which is his by divine right. So that's point 22. Demanding by divine right only that which is yours. We do not want to do no harm. We do no harm. That is our goal. So to go back to illustrations, had the woman taken this attitude, if this house I desire is mine, I cannot lose it. If it is not mine, give me its equivalent. The man might have decided to move out. So did you catch that? She was talking about wills and intention. So she had said, she had taken the attitude or her strong will to say, if this house I desire is mine, I cannot lose it. If it is not, give me its equivalent. Then the man might have decided to move out harmoniously, had it been the divine selection for her. If not, what would happen? She'd get the equivalent or better. So, or another house would have been substituted. So Louise Hay had a affirmation that when something came along, like this house or something better, this trip or something better, this publishing company or something better, just speak it up. Speak it up. Your words have power and you know it. So we are on point 22. And so she has that story, but anything forced into manifestation through personal will is always ill-gotten, right? Force, and has ever bad success. And I know many of you, you're not trying to force. I think sometimes people can get into an area where they want something so badly and they begin grappling around with themselves, and then that's when we get into these, or you have a bad day and you start to revert to old patterns. But in general, we are all higher order beings. We are here to create the new social memory complex and earth complex, and it's happening. So we are beginning, it's kind of like as the higher vibration you get, you just can't partake in like yucky, demeaning, horrible things. And that's why you're seeing on the earth right now major divides between those who want to choose to stay in the darkness and do evil things, and those who are moving into the light and cannot resonate. And the two will be split. So you choose where you're going. You choose the path of your life. You choose everything. So sit down and be the God that you are, and pick with authority, pick with love, pick with compassion, pick with mercy, because I'm just so excited to have you in my life and to watch the wonderful things that are going to go on for you. And as we continue to build these communities, this new earth, these events, these courses, it's really going to help so many. And it's going to be a joyous place to reside. I mean, we're going to get to see everybody's talents and their abilities, and we're going to be able to work together in synchronicity and joy and harmony. And it's going to be a beautiful, beautiful time. So maybe I should end it on that note, as you are just the beautiful, beautiful souls you are. And I want to thank you so much for joining me and supporting me on my channel. And, you know, follow me, subscribe, hit like, and I'd love to hear your positive comments. Maybe what story or what tool might you be utilizing in your life? Or what maybe thing gave you a new perspective on your walk in life, and as you become into full domination of your spiritual gifts, working with the spiritual laws. Like, tell me about yourself. I'd love to hear. And thank you for supporting me. And may you be at peace. I was just listening to David Hawkins the other day, and he just talked about how the state of peace is just such a place of calm, of grounding. You cannot hate or harm or hurt. There's no chaos in that state, and that so many of us strive for it. So it is my prayer that you be at peace. So thank you for joining me, and continue to watch these wonderful videos that Benzie Darling and his team are helping me to improve, and watch as we climb to the top of the mountain together. All right. Thank you so much. Love you. Bye.